Good evening, workshoppers. So, tonight is episode 69, where we find out that BlizzCon is equal to 2.4. That's some mathematic trickery that we went through and figured out there. As many of you will have noticed by now, or at least should have heard in the Twitter sphere or news websites and such. There's not a lot of Diablo content going on at BlizzCon. We are going to go through, talk about that. We also have some other things that we're going to be doing, some changes to the show here in the coming future. And with me, as always, well, maybe not as always, is Lieutenant Lunatic. Go ahead, say hi to all the lovely people at home.
Hi, all of the other people at home.
And of course,
No, hey everybody.
what is going on with you, good sir?
Oh, just not getting Diablo news, not getting my expansion fill, all that good stuff.
Aw.
Just like everybody else. Just feeling like the old ugly duckling over here.
The redheaded stepchild of Blizzard.
Yup.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But Reaper's color scheme was blue. It doesn't make sense anymore. I don't understand it.
Blue-headed stepchild. How's
Blue-headed
that?
step. There we go. That'll
Yeah,
work.
we can be that.
I like that. That'll work,
Yeah.
right? That's not
So
offensive
what's up
to
with
anybody.
you?
All right. Yeah. Working as always. Still have found some time. I have pushed my Crusader a little bit higher. Hey, I guess, are we into the weekend gaming? We did a transition without even announcing.
Transition without the transition.
There we go. But yeah, so I've been my weekend gaming, as we shall say. I've been pushing a little bit higher with my Crusader. I've not yet been able to complete Greater Rift 51, but I'm realizing I'm just getting some really terrible luck when it comes to actually completing these like 50 and 51s. I'm getting I guess this is like the first time that I've really ever like pushed as high as I can go with my gear, and it's just not getting the right mob compositions. I'm really starting to feel a little bit. I know. There's a whole bunch of you out there that are going through. It's like Greater Rift 51 shakes your head. It's high for me.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's my poor little Crusader, and my Witch Doctor, which is gonna surpass him with like 40 hours less played. But anyways, it's yeah, it still has been fun, and I'm really starting to feel the pain of just having that bad rift composition. And it's just, it's like, okay, I went through, I completed this one level, I'm ahead of the game, I'm doing really well, and then now on the second level of the Greater Rift, it's a whole bunch of the Shadow Spawn and Bees. So I'm not completing this one in time.
Yeah.
So all I managed to do is just like complete a Greater Rift 50 faster, and not by a lot, like 30 seconds faster than my previous one. And that's all I've been able to do. But while going through and doing that and trying, I've gotten a lot of blood shards. I've finally managed to complete the health tooth set for my Witch Doctor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got a Su Wong, and just looking at trying to build up that set. Try to get some ancients, level up some backup gems, or not so much backup gems, but side gems for the Witch Doctor, because I hate swapping gear back and forth between characters. It's one of my little pet peeves. So trying to go through, level up some gems for him to go and start taking a shot at that solo Greater Rift 60, and that should be some fun. Going through and doing that. This past week I went through all of my Greater Rift keys, and I got some help from some clanmates going, and we were chain running Torment Rifts back to back, farmed up like another 25 keys. So it was a lot of fun just going through, hopping on. Yeah, and of course with my schedule, it's gonna be weird hours. It's either like 1 o'clock in the afternoon before I have to go in for work, or like 4 o'clock in the morning when I get home from work. But there's usually someone on. I've been trying when I have been playing to make sure that I'm in raid call, and there's one or two people that will kind of like go through, stop by and chat. Yes, sorry, TeamSpeak, because raid call is no more. Uh, if you've been catching up from older episodes and for whatever reason just suddenly hop in there, yeah, raid call died, and TeamSpeak is now where it's at. We'll have the info
Just
at
live.
the end of the show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of been my week in gaming. How is oh, not Diablo related, but I also played a lot of Battlefront this past week.
Oh
Just,
yeah.
just throwing it out there. Sorry, not mean to be cheating on my Diablo love, but when you
I
have the
always feel
limited
like I am
opportunity,
too.
yeah. And this time I really didn't. I didn't feel like that. You know, when I go and boot up like Destiny or I'm playing Hearthstone or something, I'll feel a little bit of twinge. I could be playing Diablo right now, but I just really rather play this. No, not gonna lie. It was just like, okay, I'm playing Battlefront. What's that other game that I play? I do a show about? I don't even know. All I know is I'm a stormtrooper throwing thermal detonators, going through and killing rebels like my life was destined to do this. Um,
That can be your only thought when you're a stormtrooper.
of course, of
There's nothing
course.
else that can go through your head.
That and hoping that I hit the target.
And Jar Jar.
In Jar Jar. Thank you. Thank you. But no, Battlefront, the beta, amazing. Loved it. Really loved it. There are some balance issues and such that I'm sure DICE is going to go take a look at, go and fix. Biggest complaint, I can't pick which faction that I want to play when I hop into a match. It does not give me the
You're not
option.
able to, not that
Yeah.
you can't decide. Like, just
Yeah. It's just so
play
it's like I
both.
go through and I say I want to do multiplayer Walker Assault or multiplayer Drop Assault. I it throws me into a random team, and so I'm either Rebel or Imperial. I have to stick with it, and then it will flip flop in between every match. I would absolutely love it if I could just, like the previous Battlefront games, I could just pick which faction I want to play. I just want to play
Mhm.
Imperial. Yes, I am an Empire person at heart. Screw the Rebels. The Rebellion can
Yep.
die.
Amen.
Vader for life. Just
I feel like the rebels were just being really dramatic. Like there has to be a powerful leader to have like you know a universe that's all in unison. Like you can't do that without an empire. The rebels
mhm.
need to quit being dramatic.
Mon Mothma.
I don't know
No.
who that is.
Okay.
Or
All right. All right.
I
I
I
believe it.
know the name. I
Believe
know
it or
the
not.
name.
Believe it or not. I also do a little bit of Star Wars lore too.
I know
If
the name because I used to know my Star Wars lore
uh-huh.
somewhat, like not real well, but who is that? Or what is that?
She was the leader of the rebellion.
Okay.
There you
Okay.
go.
Well,
Uh, but
I'm just still saying
how was
rebels
your
are
week in
being.
gaming?
Oh, my week in gaming.
Hmm.
So about last week, when I gave that whole spiel about how my time is like nil for free time, it's
Hmm.
still it's still at that point where like I have almost no free time. Um, so I unfortunately once again did not get playtime this week. I mean, would log on, and check out the clan, see how everyone's doing and stuff, but I hate being that guy, that
Hmm.
that doesn't like I downloaded the Battlefront beta, like I downloaded it, had it ready from on my Xbox and did not even get to play it. And that I actually turned it on last night and realized the server's down. So um, yeah, so um, my playtime, in general, has just been zilch. Once again, this weekend I was out in the woods all weekend, and so um, yeah, that gaming and that don't mix. So
Hmm.
um, speaking of like busy schedule, I mean, is now a good time to talk about
Hit us with it. Just
probably?
do it. Just do it. Do it now. Get down.
I hate doing this, but I am going to have to take a step back from the show, and man, I hate saying this because like all the fans on here are just like absolutely phenomenal, and everybody here in Twitch chat, clam chat, um, they're gonna hear it. They're gonna be like, "No." I hope they are at least. I hope they're bummed. But yeah, so I am going to have to take a step back from the show for now, because Real World is just like it's getting crazy. Like there's so much going on in my real world that just it's not feasible for me to continue like a weekly show. And so I don't want to bore you guys too much with with the details, but there's a lot of changes that are happening in my life right now. Um, and yeah, it's I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of changes happening, and they're all good. Like there's a lot of good changes, and um, a lot of hopeful, promising changes. And if I'd be happy to talk with people offline about like all that stuff, but I just I wanted to kind of spare the details. But I will still absolutely be playing a ton of Diablo. When my schedule hopefully calms down, I do not plan on taking a break from the game. I'm not burnout, like anything like that. And actually, when Nineball and I talked, we kind of wanted to talk and make sure this happened before I got burnout, because I still want to play the game. I still want to know my game. I still want to like interact with everybody on a regular basis, um, and all that good stuff. And so I will still be around. And so yeah, that is the plan currently. And so um, sorry guys.
Yep. It is a sad day as
Yeah.
Queen is queuing up for another one bites the dust in the background.
Oh man, that's harsh. I wanted
Um,
I wanted to play some like Enya or something in the background.
um, yeah. I always have to make light of the situation,
I know. Yeah, I
but
know.
again, as it has been in the past, I'm still here. The show must go on, so no worries there. But that also did kind of bring up the topic of conversation about like the future of the show and things of that nature. Is just it's one of those. I'm a little worried. I will never stop doing the show itself, but I'm not sure how much I'll be able to continue the live show because there's a lot of stuff. As you all know, I've been working a lot, and I've there's some opportunities that are opening up for me at work as well, that I kind of want to go through and grab. So I might not be able to do a live show, um, like going into 2016. There's some stuff that's going to be, off in the future for me, still quite a bit of ways. So nothing's going to be changing so much now. But I just wanted to start collecting feedback, from the fans about what you would like to see. Do you still like the two host 2 hour podcasts? Is it something, would you be okay if it maybe say went to like a 2 hour podcast that's just kind of thrown up on YouTube and iTunes, but we don't do the live show on Wednesday nights, or maybe even something like a quick like 30-45 minute solo host show up on YouTube and iTunes, maybe with like a little live recording with a special guest here and there. Um, it's just some of the ideas and thoughts that have been going through and have been in my mind since Chris and I started talking. Because this is something that at least has been a couple weeks into the discussion about it.
Yeah.
Um, but because there's things that have just been changing, like all around. But I do still want to make it clear the show will still be here, no matter what it is or what time I have going for it. Uh, I will uh, just continue the show going in some form or another. And like I said, for my changes, it's probably not going to be any time within the next few months. So it's not anything that goes on after that. And it's one we get, of course, one of the biggest portions of the show is our community feedback, and we love hearing from you guys, especially all of you here in Clam Chat every night. Love every single one of you. Most of you are the ones that we play with or the ones that send in the
Yeah,
emails. But this is
that's
something
true.
that I would really like anyone that's listening to the show, whether you've been with us since the beginning or this is the first time you're listening, because we've got like over 4,000, sometimes close to 5,000 listens, downloads, views, what have you, a week. And there's a lot of you that we've never heard from, and I would like to still keep you all engaged as listeners. Is this something that what would you feel? What direction or comments or feedback you have, just on the direction of the show? It's still going to be going through, probably still going to be 2 hours for the next couple of weeks. I do have some guests, hopefully, lined up that I can go through and continue on with. There's one or two potential co-hosts which I can go and start talking with, um, at least to keep the show going, in its current format. But yeah, this is one of those ones definitely want to hear from all of you. So this was one of those ones where really, I know we've always asked in the past, let us know your thoughts, but this is one that really impacts, all of the, the couple thousand of you that listen to the show, and it's something that we, Chris, and obviously, like Archon and Leviathan are all there. They all really cared about the show and all of you guys, and it's just something that I want to keep um, that connection with the community going. So, little bit of a somber moment, but it's things change, and even though it does, I will still be here, and Westmarch Workshop will still be a thing. And as I've seen a couple times in chat, blame Archon. Blame,
Marcon.
blame
It's his
Archon.
fault.
Yeah, which actually is one of those ones that I haven't really mentioned that much. But if you want to see Archon, Monday nights Twizcast, and he does talk about Diablo.
Boom.
On this channel, yeah, twitch.tv/BlizzPro, Monday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Definitely worth going through and checking out. It's not 100% Diablo. It's a lot of World of Warcraft, predominantly like World of Warcraft, Hearthstone Heroes talk, but they do manage to work in a little bit of Diablo here and there. So definitely worth going through and trying out.
Boom.
Yeah. So
So
after that note, who wants to
kind
talk
of
about BlizzCon?
yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So yes, as I was going through and saying, so we found out that BlizzCon plus one panel equals 2.4. So BlizzCon must be equal to 1.4. And that has to mean something? Not sure what it is, but
BlizzCon equals
that's
1.4?
yeah, because it's BlizzCon plus one panel equals 2.4.
I get it.
There you go. There you
I
go.
was a
So
math major. Fun
2.4
fact.
minus 1 equals 1.4, for
Fun
those that
fact.
are need to catch up. Um, but yeah, so obviously it's been this is kind of like, I guess, the 500-pound gorilla in the room, and it has kind of rocked the community since it was announced. Um, a couple of days ago, they had the schedule post up, and then they took it down very quickly. And then now it finally got reposted. And so what we see, if you haven't heard yet, there is a single Diablo panel that we're getting on Friday, which is set as the Diablo Dev Talk. Um, and when we have that, just the one panel, and then when we have the floor map where there is no huge demo station with like 100 computers, we do still have like a little Diablo section, and I'll get to that in a second. It does kind of make you think and wonder, well, if it's having such a limited presence on the panel stages and on the floor, um, I it's like, despite like our hopes and dreams, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that this kind of puts the nail in the coffin that there's going to be no expansion announcement at BlizzCon.
No.
That doesn't necessarily mean that there won't be an expansion, but it does call into question, what it is that might be going through and coming in the future for us, and that
Yeah.
we've got, what it is that they might be doing.
Kind of goes against what both of us were thinking. I mean, we both last week were saying that we were pretty much expecting an expansion announcement.
Yeah, no, I guess it's like, from what limited information that we have, it's like, oh, they're hiring for an art director, and they changed the title, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff that's kind of going on in the background that kind of hinted a little bit at an expansion. If you went through and looked at a lot of the data mine stuff, not even just from 2.3 but 2.2, there were some strings that were being added in that were labeled as X2. where the vast majority of Reaper content, when that got data mined, was labeled as X1 or expansion 1. And so now all of a sudden there's all this other types of stuff that was added in these past couple of patches that never got implemented, never actually saw the light of day in the game itself. They're just random strings that are being added in. We're all like, where does this come from? That are labeled X2. So those are like little things for um, that were kind of like hints. Oh, okay, they got to be working on something. They have these string codes labeled for another expansion, just like. In 2.3, there's a whole bunch of the content. When Monstrous was on the show, he was talking about the forested coast and all this other stuff that was going on that was labeled, P4 or Patch 4. Um, it's kind of like a little hidden indicators of what we might be getting in like 2.4 and such. Um, but I also want to go and give props over to Eldorian, who's the co-founder of BlizzPro, when they changed the job title for the art director that they were hiring for Diablo to
Yep.
unannounced projects. It's still Diablo, but no longer D3. It's unannounced projects. That his first thought on that one went didn't it wasn't expansion. This isn't an expansion. This is Diablo 4. You
Hmm.
know, and so I'm
There was a pretty
wondering.
good discussion on that.
Yeah, and that's one of those ones where just like going through and thinking um, that they could go and do is Diablo 4 getting pushed up? Are we not gonna have to wait, like 10 years for Diablo 4? Is there stuff that they want to go through and do faster? And if you look everything that they've done in Reaper, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, they have added so much content and updates to the game. Are they even at the point where maybe we don't have to do an expansion? We don't know how microtransactions are going in China. They might be able to go through and like we're going to implement um, paid banners, paid portraits, and that is going to generate more than enough revenue that we can go through and we can give you like every new patch, we can give you a couple new zones. Because that's one of the things like in the little comment for the Diablo 3 dev talk, they talk about new monsters, new items, new zones, plural. We were all shocked in 2.3 that we were getting Shesharon, and then now they're talking about like zones. Is that just like
Hmm.
kind of marketing? Is that just words being thrown on there? Or does that actually mean that we're going to be getting multiple new zones? It might not be like a full new act. But it's just there's a lot of stuff that they can still do, and if there is a Diablo 4 on the horizon sometime within, obviously, even if we're talking about this is still going to be like a couple years down the road if they
Yep.
were to do it. But what if they take all that content that they were originally wanting to go and do an expansion and then just drop it into the game?
Could
Because that's what
be.
a lot of people were talking about with the cube.
Yeah.
Are
That
you
could
going to say
be.
something? I'm sorry. I'm
No, no,
spitballing
no.
here.
I'm literally just thinking. My thought right now is maybe that's why Diablo 3 doesn't have a presence at BlizzCon because Diablo 4 is getting announced, and they're not going to have demo stations for that. It's just going to be an announcement, and then that's going to be that.
Uh, Maybe they have always gone through and shown how every game that they've ever announced has always been playable.
That's true. I guess Overwatch was playable last year.
Exactly. So I don't want to say that. Um,
Maybe it's just going to be like a teaser trailer, and that's going to be bam done.
mhm. I don't know. Maybe they could. It's a possibility. There's still some other things that they can go through and do. Um, but that is just some thoughts that have been going on even since the patch 2.3 PTR, and we found out about the cube and what it does. It was like that was one of the first times that I saw people kind of scratching their heads and be like, and I remember we even got listener feedback that they're like, if we're getting the cube in a patch, I don't think we're going to get an expansion.
Yeah, that's a big addition
It's a huge addition.
for something like that.
hmm And it's just one of those things that I don't know that we and we're the I guess this is I'm still really positive and looking forward to BlizzCon, especially with the Slaughtered Calf Inn, which I'll talk about in a little bit. I said that's the second time I've said that now. Wow, a whole bunch of lead up to this.
Talk
Um,
about it now.
but no, it's just one of those ones that it's like I guess I could talk about it. I
As
forgot
well.
what I was just gonna say. God damn it. Um, but I'm still really excited, at least for the content and whatever announcements that we're going to be getting here at BlizzCon. And I do wonder, or yeah, now I remember what I was going to say. We're the only franchise that doesn't know what we're getting.
Hmm.
World of Warcraft,
And
as
Legion.
yeah, I mean that's one of those ones that I'm 100% guarantee you at some point answering some question or something like that, or some developer comment at this BlizzCon where they're going through and promoting Legion and all this other types of stuff. A developer or someone high up is going to mention work on the expansion past Legion. Like if you're a World of Warcraft player, you go in knowing fully well that I'm going to get Legion, and within 2 years I'm going to have another one.
Yep.
StarCraft, before the game even came out, you're getting the base game, 2 expansions. We're letting you know right now, right here. Hearthstone, they know that they're going to be getting. They don't really have expansions so much as just like new card releases, but they know they're going to be getting like solo adventure and a card expansion like every year. And
Hmm.
even then, they're even though they kind of like know their release schedule, they're asking for more. They want two card
Yep.
packs, like per year. Heroes is a game that's really just never going to have an expansion since it's free to play, and we have no idea what the pay structure for Overwatch is going to be, so that's a little bit too early to tell or be able to make any guesstimations about what's going on there. But for Diablo, we're literally left in the dark where we don't know what Blizzard's future plans are. And this, I've said this before on this show a long time ago on Ink Gamers and such. Leading up to the launch of Diablo 3, Jay Wilson was going through and doing interviews and saying expansions, again, plural, and then going into the actual launch right before, reining that in, not talking about expansions anymore, and then shortly after
Yep.
the release and a lot of the negative criticism about the game and such, uh, kind of completely throwing, let's not even talk about expansions. We don't know if expansions are necessary for the game. So it's one of those ones that's always we're kind of left a little bit in the dark, and that's my biggest kind of gripe or pet peeve, despite the fact that I'm still like really looking forward to the future of Diablo and such. But it's like one little thing. Um, it would just be nice to kind of have kind of an idea of what it is that we're going to be getting. I guess that might kind of go on the good, like the tinfoil hat theory of course they're not going to tell you there's no more expansions because they want to save hype for Diablo 4, whatever it is, um, that is going from there.
Yeah.
But
It can be frustrating because
mhm.
yeah, I mean like you said, like every other game has at least somewhat of a expectation of what's going to come up. And I guess you could kind of say that with Diablo 3, like we know we're going to get 2.4, but um, it's I, I don't know. It's the a patch compared to an expansion, or like
Mhm.
a patch compared to well, but then again, if you call these big patches like expansion worthy, then to me, I don't think they're expansion worthy, and so to me,
They're,
I do feel
yeah.
like other games are getting a lot more
Yeah,
of
they're
a
definitely they're definitely not what I would consider an expansion, but a lot of the
no.
content that they've added in Reaper, you could easily see how another
Oh yeah.
developer would have charged money for it.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, just looking at one of the other games I play, of course, Destiny. The like each one of the major patches is more content that was added into the game than I would say, um, like the previous two Destiny expansions with. Uh, House of Wolves and The Dark Below. Like patch 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3 all themselves just added more content and replayability to the game than any of those things, and they were charging $20 a piece for those expansion packs, and we're
Mm.
getting it for free. Um,
Oh,
so don't know.
my
And I
Destiny
mean, the game
character is
itself
still.
obviously is still popular. It's gotten phenomenal reviews. Each patch brings back a huge amount of the community back out. Sure, it drops off towards the end of the season. There's all rumbling. Oh, when are we going to get go through and get more content or new content or something along those lines? Um, but we've already heard from the developers, they're okay with that. They understand that that is what the gaming community has become. We're going to go hardcore into it, consume all the new content that you've given me, and then I'm going to move to another game while you work on your next patch. you know so
Mhm.
it's one of those that's just it's some of those points and things that they've kind of addressed. They know they're never going to create content at a fast enough point that they'll give it to you before you've gotten bored of the previous content. If it was a perfect world, that would happen, but it isn't. And so they've already put that out on the table, and we should just kind of accept that. And if you get bored of Diablo in between seasons, it's fine. It's not a bad thing. You can go through and play other games. I mean, the developers themselves, they even play games other than Diablo. If you didn't know,
What?
just I know I'm throwing that one
What?
out there. Shocker, spoilers, spoiler alert. Um,
But that's one thing I like about Diablo so much, and that's what I feel like adds to the value of the game is that you can literally just pick up Diablo whenever you want. It's not like, oh man, I need to brush up on Diablo. Like I used to be a Call of Duty player, and to to decide or like WoW as well, like you have to make a conscious decision. Okay, I'm going to get back into this game, and I'm going to take a week or two to refamiliarize with myself with this game. That's the beauty of Diablo is you can literally jump in if you haven't played for months, jump in and start killing stuff and be right up in there. And
hmm
that I love that about Diablo. Um, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
uh,
I do like that.
yeah. But there, and I guess the one thing that I keep hinting at the whole time is what the floor presence that we do have at BlizzCon, and a lot of people are going through and griping. And at first, originally, I'll go through fully admit, when I first saw the floor schedule, I went to Twitter and I expressed my displeasure in it as well about how we have just like a little corner, no set demo station. They did talk that we have. This new section, it's not really new. They are bringing the Dark Moon Fair. You'll know what that is if you're a World of Warcraft player. If you're not, it's kind of like a carnival. They're bringing this kind of mystical carnival area to BlizzCon. They've always had this before, where it's where all the vendors are, and they have a bunch of just like the like games that you can go and play, and just like little kind of like carnival type stuff. They've always had that every year, so it's not like it's taking away in anything from what would have been the Diablo area. This has always been there. They're now just making it thematical. They're putting a theme behind it, and they're doing something from within one of the games to put a spin on it. In at this Dark Moon Fair, they're recreating the Slaughtered Calf from Tristram. That first place that you go in, and you have to slaughter the villagers. And back in Classic, who knows how many times you heard, "Oh boy, this is killing business." I think I saw that joke a lot on Twitter about how this is killing Diablo. Um, but it's one of those ones where at first I thought that, well, when you look at it on the map and it is kind of small, how many demo stations can you really fit? But then it kind of started to sink in on me, what this actually is. In previous years, I've always had like this community corner where you can meet with the developers, and they would have a schedule where you could come through, and it's like, oh, I want to talk to like Dustin Browder from the StarCraft 2 and Heroes team, or I want to talk with Wyatt Cheng from Diablo, and they would go out and they would be there at this community corner, and you could just walk up and talk to them, and they have like a set like 1 or 2 hours that they would be there to just talk and interact with fans. This year, um, the Slaughtered Calf Inn is dedicated entirely to the Diablo 3 development team. not the entire team is going to be there. I'm sure it's going to have a rotating schedule. So, within this set time, you might be able to talk to Don, and then Wyatt will come in, and then John. I'm sure we're going to have like artists and programmers and other members, from the development team that are going to go through and be out there. I really hope that we see like Brian and Leonard, from like the writing and like the story building, like the world building teams and such. That's some people that I'd really be looking forward to chatting with. And they're going to be there the entire convention. So even though we only have a single
Hmm.
panel, we don't have a demo station set at the floor, we have an area that's dedicated to one-on-one interaction with the developer for the entire length of the convention.
It's pretty
And
awesome.
no other franchise has that at the moment. So
Hmm.
that's one thing that we shouldn't go through and be hating on, because then they'll never do it again. But we this is something that we really should like embrace, and take as much of an advantage of it as we possibly can, because if this works and this is like well received and all the stories coming out where sure, we only had one panel, but we learned so much across those 2 days, because I spent like 3 hours talking with John and Wyatt about like itemization in the future and like their plans for 2.4 and what's going to come next or what's going to come after 2.4. um, that who knows, they might do that for other franchises, and that might be something that they open up and do for other games, where they find that this was really well received, so why don't we put some other developers like in a dedicated spot, so that way, instead of like the old community corner where it would rotate, where you have a couple WoW people here, you have a couple StarCraft people here, we have a set area that we're going to put like WoW people in the entire convention, and it's going to rotate, you know so that's just some of the things that I feel that we should focus on as a community. How much can we take advantage of this, like unprecedented access to the developers? And that's one I know I can already tell you, and I'm sure once he actually listens to this, Wyatt is going to have a field day there, because for like the past couple of BlizzCons, there's always been story time with Wyatt, where
Hmm.
he would go through, he would have his hour that he's scheduled at the booth, he would talk for an hour and a half, so he'd go past his time, he'd have some interview or a panel or a press meeting that he would have to go and do, and then kind of like not after the convention but after hours, once like the award ceremonies and stuff like that would start, he would go back and he would talk nonstop for like 2 or 3 hours, taking questions from anyone that would walk by, and just want to know a little bit more about Diablo. Everything from the philosophy of class balance to the psychology of the reward system, anything and everything. And it's just, you know, now we have that to the next level, because it's dedicated and it's just for us. It's just for the Diablo players.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun to pick their brains for sure. And so I think yeah, like you said, I mean, we need to take advantage of that portion that the other games might not be getting during that time because they're busy releasing big content. Um, so that's definitely an exciting aspect of it for sure.
Yeah.
So,
So that's kind of like been my thoughts as I've been sitting here and kind of mulling it over in my head, and what I've been thinking about, what this BlizzCon means. I'm sure we're definitely going to go and get 2.4. We don't have a huge set demo area. I wasn't at BlizzCon last year, unfortunately. I think there was a
nor
couple
was
people
I.
that were there that could maybe comment on that. I don't know how popular the Diablo 3 demo area was,
Hmm.
um, to actually like go through and play and see, if it was something that, if they're not announcing an expansion and just a new patch, if it would even warrant the floor space, for that. And they said they're going to have a couple demo stations and they're going to have some consoles set up, at the Slaughtered Calf Inn, and that's something that they've actually done at the community corner. Um, uh, what was it in the previous years that they would have it set up and you could actually sit down and like you could play a game of Hearthstone, with Ben Brode, or you could go and sit on the couch and play Diablo on the PS4 with some of the other developers. And so that's going to be one of those nice aspects that you'll actually be able to go through while talking about the game, playing a demo of the game with the developer.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's one of those ones that's I guess we will just have to wait and see what the future holds for us.
Only a few weeks left for you guys
Yeah.
to go and me to stay home and
Oh, I'm sorry.
bask in my tears.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
The one.
telling, like I was telling you though before the show, like knowing what I know now from when I sold my ticket, like I would have had to sell it even faster because just so knowing how crazy my life would be right now.
Uh-huh.
So
Well, I'm
yeah,
sure um I'm sure Steven is going to have a lot of interesting stories to go through and bring back. And are you
yes,
still going to be doing the BlizzCon from home party?
I'm hoping to. I need to talk to the guys and see if they're still interested and see, um, what's going on in IRL, if you
Hmm.
will, in real world. So still need to talk to the guys though. I haven't talked to them in probably 2 weeks because I have not been online. So
Hmm.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see. But if I do, everyone's welcome.
There's actually a conversation going on between Nabi and Ravage Shrew right now about like Diablo 4 and what it could mean. And um, Nabi is going and talking about Lineage Eternal, which is kind of like a MMORPG. It looks very, very similar to Diablo, and it's like a Korean game. And they've got a couple of the in Korea. There's a whole that's kind of like its own genre, the MMORPGs, and it's one of these that are going to be coming to the stateside translated into English, and that's been one of those ones where it's always been like ever since like Diablo itself came out, or even you go back and look at some of the old like Blizzard North interviews that
Yep,
after they had left, it's like, oh, some of our original intentions for Diablo 3 was to make it an
yep.
MMO. And I was just like, man, if they made like Diablo 4 and it was like an MMORPG, how cool would that be?
I think it would be really cool. I don't know if it would be successful now as it would have been back when they were talking about it.
Hmm.
Because I feel like that genre is not as popular as it used to be, where like you have to play a lot in order to for a reward, like playtime equals reward, I guess is what a lot, well, I guess not all the MMOs are like that anymore, but now I feel like a lot of games are geared towards, um, jump in, get your game time in and jump out
Hmm.
whenever you feel like it. And so if it would I feel like it would have to be a different style of MMO than what we're used to,
Hmm.
in order for it to be successful at the standards of Blizzard, like
Yeah.
their standards of success. Um,
And of course, the biggest question is how would you handle any type of like raid like scenario where you would wipe
yeah,
multiple times for hardcore?
no, that's true.
You
That's
know,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
always one of those ones. But then again, I mean, it could also just be another game that I always constantly go through and mention, like Star Trek Online.
mhm,
It's like the content itself, even like the high end content, really isn't. It's not that hard. You can do it in some of the hardest content in the game. It's puggable. You can just go into matchmaking and go and run through it pretty quickly. With a very decent chance of success. So it's one of those ones that it could just be that it's interesting, like group based content. Um, that isn't necessarily like that bad. Kind of like something like you can pick your greater rift level. Pick your difficulty of what it is that you want to run and such.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it would have to still have a pretty huge focus on just like the solo. content of the game, which again, like Star Trek Online has. It's a game that has like tons of solo content and then some group activities once you get max level.
Mm-hmm. I would say that I'm not as in support of the MMO as much as I used to be. Um, I would be interested though for like more social um, features though for sure. Like I don't know, like a local town where you can walk around or something
Hmm.
like that, or mailboxes that you can, do all that type of thing that you might do at like in an MMO hub
Pet
or something
collecting,
like that. Pet collecting.
pet battles. I want to play
Hmm.
Pokemon in Diablo. No, that's not true. I do not want to play Pokemon in Diablo.
I did have fun with
I
that in WoW
though if
though.
they ever implemented it, I would play Pokemon in
Yeah,
Diablo.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's like
If they give it to you, you have to do it.
go goat man, use spear attack.
Oh
Oh
man.
man, it it would be amazing.
Caught the legendary Psychophant.
uh, it'd be great.
Oh,
Maybe,
BlizzCon.
maybe not.
I'm
I don't
excited
know.
to see what happens though.
Yeah, and Rabid True is going and talking about it's like he wants to pit his Spectral Hound versus your Protoss probe. Which I don't have any pets following me when I play. I always have them disabled. But when I get my copy of Legacy of the Void, that probe will be by my side. I wish it was a Zergling. Wish it was a Zergling. They could
Yeah.
Blizzard. You could go back and retrofit and add in like a Zergling pet for if you have a collector's edition of Heart of the Swarm. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You could do
Just
it.
saying.
You really could, because I think a Zergling would be awesome, and you wouldn't even have to do like the little cutesy Zergling that you have in World of Warcraft. You could do like the full-on grotesque alien bug-looking thing ripped straight from the StarCraft game files, and it would look beautiful, just being there in Diablo 3 because demons and crap like that.
As
The
demons.
Zergling would feel at home in the Lands of Sanctuary. I've talked with one, so I will guarantee that. Blizzard, do it now. Go. Do it now.
Do it now.
Uh huh. The.
That pet does look pretty cool.
Mhm. And just like the Protoss transmog that you get from it as well.
Hmm. I feel
Yeah,
like I have to buy it just because
you
of
got
that.
to. I mean,
How
you
much
have
is
to.
it?
Just like I think like the digital edition
60
is
bucks.
$60
Yeah.
for the digital deluxe.
See, I have everything but the bone wings. I have everything but the StarCraft stuff
Mhm. And don't you
for
feel left out?
Diablo. I do kind of. I want to
Don't
collect
you?
it all.
Mhm. I think you can still find some like Heart of the Swarm collector's editions for a
Oh
decent
yeah,
price.
you can. They're
Uh huh.
not. I don't think you have to have the. Do you have to have the hard copy collector's edition? I don't think you do.
For what? Hard copy of what?
The StarCraft to get the bone wings.
Do I have it behind me? No, I don't have it out at the moment, but yes, I do.
No, I know, but I don't
Yeah.
think you're required to have that in order
Oh,
to get the bone wings.
no, you can also do the digital deluxe if that's still available.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I think it is. I checked like 6 months ago, and it was at least.
Oh, available 6 months ago? Yeah, totally still available now.
Totally
Nothing
still.
would change in
Totes.
6 months.
Yeah.
Totes. Totes
Heart of the
McNote.
Swarm. Uh, maybe not. Crap.
Uh-oh.
I will do some research.
Let's see. Heart of the Swarm. Yeah,
No, I
I
can
don't see
never get
it.
my bone wings.
Not unless you get the physical copy.
Son of a gun.
That's what it looks like.
Oh man.
Oh, they do have. Here's actually one for you. They do have the entire StarCraft 2, the complete collection, uh, with all of the Legacy of Void, Heart of the Swarm, and Wings of Liberty collector's edition stuff for $100.
Oh, just what I need.
Yeah, exactly. But it's you get the content from all three games, even
Oh,
though.
it is available. I found it.
Uh huh. Oh, you do? You found it?
Yes. Um, it's yeah. I googled it and I clicked on a link from a forum actually, and then it took me to I don't know. I don't know if I'm supposed to be here.
Dun dun dun.
$60 though.
Ban
That's a
incoming.
that's a standard. That's a standard. Oh, digital deluxe
Hmm.
at $100. Ugh.
Yeah, and that digital deluxe, the $100, that's the complete set.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wah,
Which
wah.
Wings of Liberty, because it came out before Diablo 3, has no content for Diablo 3.
That's stressful. Oh
Yep.
man. I don't know if I could drop $100 just for some Diablo stuff.
Ah, but you also get three really great games. I mean, even
Oh
if you
no,
don't want to play it online, those single player games are still amazing.
they are. I have the original StarCraft 2,
Hmm.
um, the first one or whatever, and that it was a lot of fun. I never ended up finishing it, but I remember playing it and be like, "This is really fun,"
Uh-huh.
but I'm really bad at it.
Can I take a moment to tangent for just a second?
Yes.
Okay. Um, Blizzard, even though I would be highly surprised if anyone from the StarCraft team actually listens to this, but I am very sad that you are wrapping up um, the StarCraft story with the end of Legacy of the Void.
We
Just
talked
gonna,
about this last week, didn't we?
I think probably, yeah, I think I mentioned that on last week's episode as
Yeah, because
well.
you're
I
because
just,
the characters
yeah, it,
become
it really is. It's still one of those things. I'm still so sad. I was like, I don't want to play Legacy of the Void just because yeah, and now that you mention it, yeah, I said the exact line. I don't want to say goodbye to my friends that I've known for like the past 17 years.
they
I
put
don't. I don't
Enya.
want to say goodbye to Raynor or Kerrigan, Zeratul, and just
Mm,
all these great characters that I've fallen in love with. And they because like StarCraft was the first Blizzard game I ever played, and the story just enthralled me. And even though I suck at the game, I just the single player campaigns and the story for the StarCraft games were all just so good. I know Wings of Liberty, a lot of people had complaints about. I absolutely loved it. Heart of the Swarm. For a lot of people, made it even better, and I thought, it made it better. Period, and it was already good to begin with.
mm.
Can't wait to see how everything wraps up in Legacy of the Void, but still just sad that whatever they come out with for the StarCraft universe next is going to be um, new characters. Even I don't know, new area. It might go back to Earth and find out what's been going on at Earth this whole time. Besides like the UED and such. But yeah, yeah.
We need to play some Enya for you for when they leave too.
There you go. Uh,
Speaking of
and
other
another one's
Blizzard
gone.
games, uh, Overwatch beta,
Ooh,
October
yes.
27th.
Yes, yes.
Ron Burgundy.
I'm Ron Burgundy, but yeah, I believe that is the official word. Overwatch beta is supposed to start October 27th. No
Yes.
idea who's going to get invited or what's going to go on. I didn't get a chance to play it last year, but everyone that I ever talked to said it was one of the greatest things ever. I know
No, I will be playing it.
Archon. Yeah, Archon went full mode crazy. Played the game as much as he possibly could last year while he was at BlizzCon. He's really excited. He's getting ready. Again, if you want to see Archon, not only is he on Twizcast, like I mentioned earlier, he is at some point in the near future going to be starting an Overwatch podcast, just like how much he enjoyed this game and can't wait to see where it's going.
Yeah, it looks like a fun game, but for the beta wise, I know they're saying that it's going to be a limited and it's going to be a closed beta,
Hmm.
um, but then they're going to have weekends where they will be stress testing. So hopefully the people that aren't in their beta regularly will be able to get in on those weekends.
Hmm.
Um, so fingers crossed. And Blizzard, if you're listening, uh, hook us up. We want to play.
Well,
I
not
will
this
play, and I
guy.
will test
Not this
rather than
guy.
play.
Yeah, it's something that I'm definitely excited about. I guess the only reason why I haven't been hyped by Overwatch all that much is because I missed last year. Didn't get a chance to play it, so I have no idea what it is that I'm missing. Um,
I haven't played either yet.
yeah.
I'm still feeling the hype.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I was just like one of those ones going through and holding off, and yeah, that's one of those ones. It's like if it's gonna compete with that like first person experience, dang, that's goodbye Destiny. I don't want to say anything about how it would compete with my love for Battlefront. Um, I,
Yeah,
I
my
don't
my
even
Destiny character is
don't.
still at level 10, so
Oh, you got a level boost to like 24, 25, free level boost. So there you
oh,
go.
if you
You
get a
just
new one.
yeah, if you get Taken King.
See, I still want to do the leveling process if I ever finish it.
No, okay, go do the leveling process, and
Maybe
I'll
one day.
well yeah, well, like I was about to say, I'll talk with you in a year and see how that's going.
Maybe one day.
One
All the
day.
time I have.
One day. I would say, hey, let's go through and hop in. We can play together, but wah,
I,
wah.
but one of us plays correctly and the other one doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. One day you'll learn and you'll start playing correctly. I'll see
Oh.
how I flipped it. See how I flipped it?
No, I knew you were going to. That's why I left it open ended just for you.
Yeah. Oh, but I guess we can talk about that also a little bit. I don't know how much is going to affect Diablo, but Blizzard is teaming up with Microsoft, and they're having BlizzCon is now going to be streaming to the Xbox One.
I did
Um,
not know that.
Oh, yeah. So it's going to be streaming to the Xbox One. Microsoft is teaming up with them, and they're going to be doing something as part of the like opening ceremony and just the convention in general. Um, Previous years they've been like really on board with Sony and part of the Sony bandwagon, and there's been a lot of exclusive content for like the only thing that they have out at the moment for consoles is Diablo 3, and there's been a lot of exclusive content specifically just for the PlayStation. But now it looks like uh, things might be shifting gears a little bit over to the Microsoft side of the fence. So I wonder what it is that we might be seeing announced for Xbox. The one of the ones that I've been kind of seeing, Overwatch is going to get announced for consoles and exclusive content for Xbox at this year's BlizzCon.
I can see that.
Yep. So we'll have to see, and that's one of those ones where it's like I guess it was like for me being a PlayStation person, Diablo having all the exclusive stuff for PlayStation was like, oh that's awesome, that's cool, and then now when I go through and look over the exclusive contents moving to the other console, that sucks. I hate you. Goodbye. I'm done.
I
Um, yeah,
can see it though.
and I joke around about it, but I never I. It's just one of those. It's like most of the games that I want to play are on PlayStation, so that's why I picked it. And I don't see the point in owning two consoles.
No, I don't either.
To be honest, it's a lot of investment for a couple, like a handful of games. Like when you were going through and mentioning it, I was like the biggest Halo player back in the day, and the fact that I
Yep.
have not played Halo 4 and I will not be able to play Halo 5 does cause me to be a little bit sad. Yeah, because I love those games so much.
Yeah.
Um, but then again, it's just like it's the reason why I sold my Xbox 360 back in the day. It's like I own this literally for like Halo, and when I was playing Halo 3, it was just I've not played this game in 3 months. That console hasn't even been turned on. It's just I've not turned it on in a couple of months. It's why do I own this? So the only thing that I'm going to care about, ODST is going to be coming out, like a couple months or whatever. But I mean, I'm going to play that for a little bit and then go back to not doing anything.
hmm
So what is the point? Everything else. The only other exclusive one that I was kind of interested in was like Gears of War, and then I ended up not liking it past the second one, and
I
so it
was
was
the
just
same way.
yeah, I was just like there's no other exclusives that want me to go through and have this, so I just went and sold it and just stuck with the PS3.
hmm
And I've Halo 4 came out, kind of regretted it. The new Gears of War looks pretty good. I'll go through and say that. Um, Kind of sad with like the what is it? Elite Dangerous, with the timed exclusive for the Xbox One. Though I could play it on the PC if I wanted to.
There you
But
go.
that's more of a game that I kind of would just play on the console because it's something just pick up and play for a little bit, which is kind of what I use the console for. But I don't know. It was one of those ones.
Mhm.
One day we'll get there, but exclusivities is what drives the console business, and
Yep.
it is what it is.
I don't see that going away anytime soon, even though I don't
No,
like it.
no. Maybe one day I will go and own both consoles again, just so that way I don't have to have this conversation anymore.
So
Maybe.
speaking of tangent,
Mm-hmm. Go for it.
no, I was just kidding.
Oh, okay. Like I said. What was this podcast again about? What the game do
I
we
don't even
discuss?
know.
I don't even know.
I don't know.
Thank you, Blizzard, for
Consoles,
giving me the
Halo,
opportunity to talk about consoles and still keep it semi-relevant to Blizzard.
Overwatch.
Yeah, I will be looking forward to what you have in store at BlizzCon.
Yep.
Yeah,
We
definitely,
are
definitely, yeah.
excited. Definitely. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, what we
yeah,
got? We
yeah,
got emails
yeah. We do. We've got some emails to go through and cover. So if you'd like to go through and hit them up,
Let's do it. It's gonna be my last email section.
you say that. You say that.
Ever. Not
Uh-huh.
ever. I will be back
It's like
to
it's like
visit.
it's like the same thing with like Archon or Leviathan. You know, it's I still haven't changed the email account password. You all have no excuse. So next time y'all are
Oh,
guests on the show, it's like bam, it's like you're reading some emails, which we did when Leviathan was back on the show. We did have him read emails.
it's true.
You
That's
know,
true. And I feel like I'll still like I'll still do the like because I kind of do a lot of the administrative stuff around the clan and like I'm still gonna want to know what's going on when people are requesting to be in the clan. So like
uh-huh.
I guess I'm gonna have to read them for that, aren't I?
Yeah, of course. Then you better
So
do it because oh God, if I'm in charge of that by myself, I am sorry. Uh,
that is I will vow to keep continuing to be the clan dude.
Liaison, recruiter,
Sure.
admin.
Recruiter, person, guy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. All right. So maybe not my last email. So okay. So this email comes from. I mean, I'm gonna try this. Slacker Rice or Riss?
I think
Man,
Rise.
Rise?
I think
Slacker
so.
Rise? Okay. Well, it came from him. So he wrote in saying, "Hey, Lieutenant Lunatic and Nineball," and he said he started following the show this year after he heard it on the Ink Gamers podcast with Flux, and so I don't know if maybe he heard one of you guys talking about it with Flux, or Flux said something about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Can I just want to? Can I tangent real quick? Quick.
can I say? Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Can I say something? Um, Obviously, love Flux, love Ink Gamers. Been getting the question a lot, like what happened to Flux? I noticed the question also happened in chat earlier. Um, it's like been the theme of this year. Real life happened to Flux. He's really, really busy. That's why you haven't seen the any new episodes of the Ink Gamers podcast. You haven't seen him posting too much over on Ink Gamers itself. He himself is okay. You know, nothing's happened to him. He's just really caught up and really busy with things going
Yep.
on in his real life. So that's but he's good. He's fine.
I know how that
Everything's fine.
is, my
Everything's
friend.
okay here. Yeah, but just yeah, it's just it's been the year real life one, type thing.
Seriously, seriously,
Hmm.
man. If I could start with all the changes that are coming up in my life, I won't. Okay, so yeah, so he heard of us through Ink Gamer's show, uh, and so he said he loves the show because it makes his 1 hour long trek to work every day. I guess I assume it's every day to work and back much more enjoyable. And said, "Awesome, keep it up." So thanks for those words, appreciate it.
Hmm.
Um, he also sent in an item of the week that we will be featuring. I'm assuming.
You assume correctly, sir.
I am assuming correctly. See, I'm getting the hang of this. Um, and then he also just wanted to chime in quickly on his legendary set idea. So the past two episodes, we've talked about two different items that they kind of spoke on during their AMA over on Reddit,
Hmm.
the Diablo devs. And one of the topics that we touched on was, what would be some other options that we could do to make legendaries more viable rather than sets being the end all be all for for every class. Like how could we make legendaries just as appealing? And so he sent in his idea, and it's actually a really simple idea, and I don't see why it wouldn't work. Um, uh, he was saying, what if instead of cubing just legendaries, you could cube the set bonuses as well. But if you cube the set bonuses, you cannot wear other sets. So um, like let's say you cubed a 6-piece set bonus, um, and with those, and like I don't know all the nuances that would, they'd have to figure out of, okay, well, what pieces does that take up for your gear slots?
Hmm.
Um, but like if you cubed a set bonus, so like if you cubed like um, I don't
Uh,
know,
well,
Natalia's.
yeah, that's actually Natalia's was one of the ones I thought of first when I read this email. So I can go and
Hmm.
like cube the Natalia set bonus, and then I can wear, like a Pride's Fall for the resource cost reduction.
Yep.
I can then wear, like illusionary boots or ice climbers, so that way I can go through walls or I can't be stopped. And then I can also go and put on hexing pants. And then if I want to do like the fire build as opposed to the lightning build, I could also wear like a cinder coat further to increase the damage as well as further do the resource cost reduction. At which point, I probably don't have to worry about like resource cost at all. You know.
Mm. I actually like this idea a
Hmm.
lot. It's so simple, and it doesn't require, um, like a long, instruction manual to explain to people who are just learning how to do this aspect of the game, which I feel like is probably one of the obstacles that they face whenever they're trying to think of new features to implement into the game. Like, well,
Hmm.
this idea sounds really cool, but it's probably going to be too complex. Uh, too many rules or too many idiosyncrasies. This seems like something that could be very simply implemented um, to say, hey, you can cube sets, but you can't wear other sets if you cube it, and
Hmm.
that's really the only rules that you would need to know. Like it would.
And it could easily be done through just a tooltip because when you go through and you have
Yep.
the cube interface and you go and you have like a separate window or separate tab that pops up and it's like would you like to equip a set bonus, and it will also just go through and have the disclaimer: while a set bonus is equipped, you cannot wear sets, or something
Yep.
along those lines. And so that way, when you have equip it, and then you say you try to equip a set piece on your character, it will go through and say you currently have a set piece equipped in your cube. You cannot, wear this or something along those lines.
Mhm. I think it's a step in the right direction, and Replay is saying in chat that the legendaries are too individually based, and that they would need to synergize with each other more. And I don't disagree that the individual legendaries um, might need to synergize more if to make this feature more appealing. But I, I don't know if that's the route that I see them taking, and I don't know the other option. But I don't know if I mean, because they're reworking a bunch of legendaries, obviously, but I don't know if I foresee them like, redoing a lot of the, existing
Hmm.
um, ones to make them more synergistic.
Yeah.
Um,
Though, I mean, we're getting a couple reworked legendaries and, 10, 15 new items every patch. So.
right, right. But what I'm saying is to
Hmm.
like, I don't see them synergizing them to make them more set like, if you
Yeah.
will.
I mean, I guess it really depends on the build and the what set it is that you'd like be equipping quotation marks
Mhm.
to see what you can go through. That's why like Natalia's is an easy one. And that's why that all came to
Yep.
mind. I'm sure there's other stuff that you could go and like work with, like something along the lines of Marauders again with like a Cinder Coat, Mage Fists, and a bunch of Pride's Fall and a bunch of other stuff that you could easily just like throw in there to equip and make work.
Yep. So yeah, then his email ends in saying that I should stop calling Nine Ball, quote, that which shall not be named. Otherwise, he's going to change my name to Colonel Sanders. So
Hmm.
thanks for that. And that which shall not be named is probably Jar Jar. So I don't know if I've ever actually called you Jar Jar though.
I don't know if you actually called me Jar Jar, but just the fact
It's
that
a
you're
good
mentioning the
idea.
name, it's bad enough.
It's a good
Really
idea.
is. No,
Call
no.
that to be your nickname. You could put
Uh-huh.
that in quotes in your Twitter handle. Hey, I didn't say it. He did. So,
Anyways, moving on.
anyway,
Anyways, this one comes in from Mad Hamster. This is more of kind of like a report more so than feedback. Uh, he was one of the ones that was experiencing some issues this last week, and I've gotten some responses from some other people that were having the issue before or still having the issue now, where they're having problems downloading the podcast on the po- the default podcast app on iOS. And he went through and he found a free podcast utility called Overcast that allowed it to go through and download free. So again, we've kind of looked into it. And I really don't know what we can do at this point because everything is set up, everything is proper, and the vast majority of all of our downloads comes from iTunes in the podcast app, and we're not getting that many problems and haven't seen like a really significant dip in the number of people that are going and listening to the show. So I'm not sure. He at least solved it by going through and downloading another app and just is offering that as feedback if anything wants to go and give it a try. But I don't know. Yeah, we'll still look and see if there's anything else that we can do to make that better, improve it or change it, do something.
I don't know. I was able to download it just fine, but we have
Yeah,
heard
it's
more than one person having that issue.
yeah, we had more than one person that had the issue, so it's affecting some people. I don't know if it's like an update or something, but like even for myself, I had no issues downloading the episode. A lot of other people didn't have issues downloading the episode either, so
Hmm.
don't not sure. Still figuring, still going and working on that one.
You know, to be continued.
Yep.
So this next email comes from Jeff, and Jeff actually sent in two emails. The first one was just introducing himself and a few of his buddies as well, and they will be joining our clan. So they're actually, so it's kind of big. They're disbanding their clan in order to merge into our clan. It's kind of cool. So we're just like eating another clan. Is that
Consuming it.
consuming?
Uh
Yeah,
huh.
I don't know. So yeah, looking forward to having them on board.
Hmm.
But yeah, he also sent in another email to kind of have put his give his take on the gold sync. So um, the other topic that they talked about, along with the legendary options rather than the set options during that AMA on Reddit was well, they talk about a lot of things, but another point that we talked about on the show was suggestions for gold sinks, and what ideas they might have. Um, and Jeff talks about, the idea for the gold sink is to not upset the balance of the RNG in the game significantly, but have something that can be used, at all levels and all aspects of the game. And so, what his idea was, maybe to add the ability to um, add the effect of a speed pylon for like a nominal amount of gold.
Hmm.
And so, so it may vary, based on the amount of gold you have available. Um, he says he just likes this idea because like having movement speed, like quick movement speed feels great. Um, and then he says that it doesn't have a direct impact on damage or power, and it can also rescue a bad RNG Greater Rift map. So goes on, talks about why it might why it might more be beneficial, and then they could limit the number of times it could be used in a Greater Rift. Um, and he thinks it would be something simple to implement from a programming perspective. So I think this idea would be awesome,
Hmm.
um, but I would oppose and say that it would upset the balance of the game quite significantly because um, while it could rescue the bad RNG for Greater Rift map, it could also make a good RNG Greater Rift map even better. And so
Hmm.
what I think's what would happen is that um, you would be required to have this effect activated if you're wanting to still hit the top of the leaderboards because everyone else will have done the same as well.
Oh, of course.
And so movement speed does feel awesome. The other problem I see with that then is that when you don't have that movement speed, you're going to feel really sluggish. And that's the problem I think that I see with the speed pylon right now. And then, starting a new character, things like that is like when you're not having that extra movement speed, uh, it feels bad. And so, like it's the point where, like on most builds, and I mean, within like there's obviously exceptions, but most builds, you're going to allocate your Paragon points to movement speed first.
Hmm.
And so I think that anybody that's given the option to increase their movement speed more substantially is going to take it as almost a requirement because it's going to help you finish the rift that much faster.
Yeah, because it's one of those like your ability. That's what kind of like helps set monks and barbarians apart. Just because not only just the sheer amount of damage that they can do this season,
Yeah.
uh, but their ability to move around the map, get from pack to pack, and they have very little downtime between like when they're killing and when they're having to run, since so much of your rift is actually just taken up by moving from one pack to another. The fact that you
Mhm.
can do it both at the same time gives them a little bit more of an advantage, besides the fact that they do ridiculous damage.
Mhm.
And so going through, and it's not even like, oh, giving it a speed buff is going to help normalize things. Their all of their movement skills, stack on top of these movement speed effects. So it just would make it even. It would just they would still be ahead in that respect by the same amount they
Yeah.
are now.
Yeah. So I guess you could. Well, I was gonna say that. I guess you could almost say that it wouldn't be required then because it doesn't separate further, but it actually could separate the higher tier players
Hmm.
further than the smaller tier. So
Hmm.
it's plebes.
Plebes. I used that term at work the other day, and apparently it took off. No one had heard it before.
What?
Yeah.
Come on.
I was trying to remember what was that one game where you're like in ancient Rome? It's like one of those city builder games.
Civ?
No, it wasn't Civ.
Uh, Age of the Empires?
I don't think it was Age of Empires either. I can't remember what it
Age
was.
of Mythology?
I don't. Maybe it was Age of Mythology, but it was one where you were
Or Total War?
specifically in Rome, and it was just like you require more plebes. You require more plebes.
Oh, I don't know. I know you would need like villagers for Age of the Empires, and now that I talk about
Hmm.
that, I have it on Steam and I'm gonna go play it sometime.
Yeah.
Villagers are
Uh.
so fun.
Yeah. It
Total War.
was.
Hot streak confirmed.
There you go. It was just that's where I learned it. See, I learned most of my vocabulary from playing video games. There you go.
Amen. As you should.
Uh-huh, exactly. You want a kid with a decent vocabulary. Although I shouldn't really be saying this with how badly I butcher words. There
It
you
doesn't
go.
mean you have a bad vocabulary.
Uh-huh. True, true. I just can't say anything. I know the words. I know the words. Maybe I didn't
Get
say
off of
every
me.
single little syllable, but yeah, basically I said them. Army of Darkness reference for those that don't get it. Um,
I don't get that one.
just going and throwing it out there. I cannot wait. Ash versus the Evil Dead, October 31st.
Oh
It
my
is going to
gosh.
be great. I've been going through and watching um, the. I watched 1 and 2 last week. Watched Army of Darkness yesterday at work, and next week gonna watch the remake. All all building up, and we're getting like ads, even though we're not going to play it or anything like that, but we're getting ads for Ash versus Evil Dead that we get to play in front of movies, and it's like one of those ones where it's like,
Yes.
yes, yes, more people
That's
need to watch
awesome.
this show. Um, Anyways, moving on. We have an email here from Blue Right, and this was sent in to us. Feedback regarding expansion pack 2. Please read the following all together. It's to it. Also, it is meant to be comedic. All right, here we go. So let's try this one. I've got the documents about expansion pack 2. Yes, they will release a second expansion pack, and it will contain the following. One key feature really liked about vanilla Diablo 3 and now surely missed is Thorn's damage, but no worry, Blizzard's has got you covered. With the expansion pack, Slay Them Demons, they gonna up the thorn damage and give it an aura component which increases with the gold sync pickup radius. Want more? Okay, Blizzard has got some more for you. They're also bringing back Magic Find, which will scale with your thorns damage.
What?
But what can I find with that much Magic Find, you might ask? Well, obviously the new legendary potions. They will come in different sizes, small, medium, and big, and that's because Blizzard felt that one of the best features of vanilla Diablo had to return. Different categories of potions. Also, as a preview, furthermore, there is the new Demon Hunter set, the Bow of Westmarch, and it reads as following. 2-piece set bonus. Vengeance gains every rune and also gains 50% cooldown reduction. 4-piece set bonus. Every time you hit an enemy with it while in Vengeance, Lieutenant Lunatic is summoned and gives a Diablo history lesson, which confuses all enemies on screen for 4 seconds.
Confuses.
And then the 6-piece set bonus is while in Vengeance, you gain 500% damage bonus. And when killing an elite, he who shall not be named is summoned and your character screams by the power of Grayskull and kills him.
By the power of Grayskull.
So by the power of Grayskull, you will kill that long-haired cheeky bastard. Or long-eared cheeky bastard, I should say.
Star Wars reference, Jar Jar.
Yeah, thank
I had
you.
to
They
throw
all
this
get it
one.
by now. They know. They know.
That's good. I
Uh-huh.
like that. Well done, Blue Right.
Yep.
What do you mean that everyone will be confused when I get my lore? Man.
Yeah, no one would be confused at all, ever. Though, I mean, Fouch would get angry. That
Yeah.
would make
Not
Fouch angry.
confused. He wouldn't be confused. He would know what's going on.
And speaking of Fouch, we also got another little email from him. Part of it just to let us know that he's going to be taking a brief break. And then also, he just wanted to go through and say that he loves our show so much that he's actually become a patron for BlizzPro.com. And just went through and signed up, and is promising that he will up his pledge so long as Lieutenant Lunatic does no lore on tonight's show.
Well, little do you know. Oh, is it just on tonight's show?
Just on tonight's show, and then you're not going to be here anymore, so we can follow through for the future.
I want to do it just to spite him, but
You'll make JR cry.
I know.
You'll make JR cry. Don't do that.
Can't do it.
Don't do that.
I like JR.
You'll also
too
make
much.
Fouch cry if you start going on about lore too.
I won't. I will not. I'm not gonna lure it up tonight. I'm not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it. No lore.
Not gonna do it.
Okay. Well, for the love of lore, we're not doing a Lieutenant Lunatic lore corner on his last episode here tonight. You all can thank Fouch, I think.
Yeah, good job, Fouch.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm going to Shattered Soulstone to do it anyway.
Exactly.
So.
No, it's like you go through in spoilers, you're gonna have Lieutenant Lunatic's lore corner over on Shattered Soulstone here. What is that gonna be within the next week or two? Couple weeks? What's going on there?
I don't know. I need to actually talk to Nevik.
Yeah, there we go.
I need to actually talk to Nevik about it.
Okay.
I've only talked to him about it like through this podcast and his. So like we're having conversations through podcasts.
Uh-huh. There you go. It's only a week in between each of the responses. This is what space travel is going to be like, where you're like a couple hours, you say something and it'll take an hour to get to Earth, and then however long it takes them to think about their response, and then an hour for it to get back to you.
Yeah.
There's also one of those ones that I also kind of didn't like so much about the Martian. Never mind, not going on about the Martian anymore. Um, Continuing on.
Hang
Uh,
on.
we did have one little interesting thing that I would like to go through and show off if this works. Let's see. Let's find out. Does it? Yes. Boom. There we go. We had a tweet that was went through and sent in to us. This one is from Ben, and he wanted to go and uh, show off that
That's
he
cool.
basically like broke the sanctuary land speed record or something to that effect. It's just it's speed shrine plus sprint plus Wrath of the Berserker with max movement speed and managed to crank it up to 180% movement speed for his barbarian. So definitely pushing it to the next level on that. I
Well
would
done, sir.
say Ricky Bobby would be proud. Definitely.
Oh
Yeah.
man. If you don't chew Big Red, that's all I want to say.
I'm Ricky Bobby, and if you don't like Bid Red, well then fuck you.
I wasn't
Uh,
gonna say it. Family friendly.
Family friendly. PG-13. You get one. You
Oh
get one. You get to say the F
well.
word once. Uh, I think it was I was on what was it like the Heroes Hype like amateur show match a couple of weeks ago, and it was like what is it that we can talk about? Are there topics that we're not allowed to say, or type on the stream or whatever? And they're like keep it PG-13, and so I just to the entire Skype group, I'm like okay PG-13. That means we get to say the F word once, so whatever you do, make sure it counts.
Yes.
Yep,
Yes. Make it really count.
yep,
That
make
one
sure.
counted. That was a good one.
Yep. All right. So, on to items of the week. The first item that we
Uh,
go through and have here, this one is from Slacker Rise. This is the ancient Johanna's argument, which I am extremely jealous of. This is like
mhm.
300
That's why
DPS
he
more
sent
than
it in.
mine. Of course, that's why he sent it in. Why else would he not send it in? And this bad boy is clocking in at 3,063 DPS. Was re-rolled for 10% weapon damage, 901 strength, reduces the cooldown of all skills by 10%. Also has a secondary bonus of 9 maximum wrath and increases the attack speed of Blessed Hammer by 100%. With Ronald McDonald's on there for a socket. Beautiful,
Jeez.
beautiful weapon.
That thing.
Uh
That
huh.
thing is ridiculous.
Extremely jelly. That is probably like my level 51 clear sitting right there in that window pane. Um, if I could only find a second furnace to cube. Even though, like my Johanna's argument, like I said, is like 2,785 DPS, I think it is. Nowhere near as nice as this.
He's getting a lot
But,
of positive reactions in clam chat too, so
uh-huh. It's a beautiful weapon.
that's
It's a
good looking.
very beautiful weapon. Um, This is actually going to be short items of the week because we're already like halfway through now. This
Mm,
one is sent in to us by Blue Right. He actually sent in a couple items. Though I kind of want to get in the habit of if you send in multiple items, even on kind of like these slower episodes, I'm gonna pick the best one or the one that I like the most. Might not be in particular the best one, but maybe it's something that we don't get a lot or it's something that I found that was really interesting. And so on this one, Blue Right is going and sending us in this Dagger of Darts. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm leveling up my Witch Doctor. I really want a Dagger of Darts because that Carnival build looks
yeah.
amazing. And this bad boy is 3,113 DPS. Was rerolled for 9% weapon damage. Aim high, you'll get that 10% one day.
Oh,
849 intelligence, and what's very very useful for this build increases attack speed by 7% with the secondary bonus of plus 137 to maximum mana, and of course, your poison darts and your fetish's poison darts will now pierce enemies, which skyrockets your damage. And Ronald McDonald's for a socket on there as well.
well done, sir.
Yep, yep. And that's one of those ones where it's like kind of like the um, zombie bear build and such has been like really popular at the high end. The Carnival build actually really puts out the damage. There's not as big for like single target damage, but even in like kind of like group situations where you're able to get kind of like good enemies lined up for those darts to pierce, it's
Mm-hmm.
Carnival puts out a lot of damage, like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of damage, even with just those 5 darts.
Yeah, I need to get a witch doctor in this season at some point.
There's always just, I mean, when you solo play, just the added benefit of the fetishes
Yep,
are collision for enemies, so it's harder for them to get to you. A lot of survivability all kind of packed into the Witch Doctor there.
and they're doing your work.
Exactly. Exactly. And then our final item of the week comes in from Paige, where he goes through and sends in this ancient Helltooth tunic. I love the Witch Doctor love this episode. We got,
Seriously,
it might only be 3 items, but it's like all Crusader and Witch Doctor stuff, and it's hammered in and other crap that
Epic
I
would be
really care
proud.
about. Exactly. Nevik loves this. This is his favorite item of the week section,
He
especially
loves witch
because
doctors.
oh yeah, because I saw him tweeting about his performance of his Witch Doctor on Twitter. So
Huh.
rest in peace, Puke Doctor. Wind Doctor is the new name of the game over on Shattered Soulstone. You heard it here first.
Boom.
Nevik has professed his love for the Witch Doctor.
He
There
loves
you
it.
go. But onto the item itself, this ancient piece of badassery has gone through and is clocking in at the 650 intelligence, 585 vitality, increases wall of death damage by 15%, 206 physical resistance, and reduces damage from ranged attacks by 7%. This is just
That
like
is,
obscene.
you could. That's so. For reference, this is almost perfect because it gives um, the 650 intelligence is max.
Max.
The the only low piece is the vitality at
Hmm.
587 out of 650, which that's fine. Um, he's got wall of death damage at the max 15%.
Yeah, which
Um,
for Helltooth, that's your big damage dealer. So that's one
yep.
of those ones you want to roll in as many set pieces as you can.
So his physical resist is 206 out of 210,
Uh huh.
and
That
then his what's that?
no, go on.
Oh, then his reduced damage from range attacks is max 7%.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
is
that it is beautiful.
it's beautiful.
Hmm. And
Like you couldn't ask for a better one.
yeah, I don't know. I might actually would say instead of physical resistance, actually having the reduced damage from uh, melee attacks, because with Swampland Attunement, your resistances get scaled so high
Hmm.
on the Witch Doctor, it gets insane that armor is actually valued more than all resist for Witch Doctors. It gives um, more return on your itemization than all resist does, just because like your big ones, your key ones, fire, fire, cold, physical resistance, and poison resistance, all you get 120 resistance for every enemy within 20 yards. That's then increased by your gold find pickup radius. So you get like, especially in a good density rift, if you keep moving and keep the enemies around you, it gets crazy to where like the all resistances, like especially something like physical resist, once you're getting a bonus from it, that 206 physical resistance means like nothing when you've got like 3,000 plus physical resistance.
Yeah. Hard for me to ever turn away physical resist though.
It's true. It's true. You are, every other class, you're like trained physical resistance or nothing.
Yep.
Uh huh.
Still a good looking piece.
Oh yeah.
Well
No,
done, sir.
that is near perfection. On that, I am extremely jealous. Extremely,
So
really,
jelly.
about all these items that we had tonight. Every single
There's some
one of
good
them is
items tonight.
something that I wanted. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, definitely, yeah. Definitely, yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
So here we are, end of the
Here we
episode.
are.
Yeah. Before I start the outro, is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Any shout
Uh,
outs,
Thanks,
praises?
Mom, for letting me do this. I want to thank my wife, my two
Hmm.
dogs. Um, Gatorade.
Hmm.
Yep,
Is
that's it.
now the point where you're supposed to thank your deity of preference for allowing you to be here or something?
God, thank you, God.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's always one thing that I found. It's like in like, especially just in sports, going through and thanking God. It's like, yep, because you know this is the one thing. God stopped everything that I was doing to make sure you completed that touchdown. Gotcha. Okay. All
Well, I'm not
right,
gonna
let's
get
go.
into theology here. Let's
Let's
not do the theology bit here.
yeah. Anyways, before we go and head out, I do want to also give a shout out. Shadow Vapor went through and gave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Even going through and mentioning "He who shall not be named" in the review. I guess thank you for that.
Thank you, sir.
Every 5-star review, no matter whose name is mentioned in it, is great. We definitely appreciate that. Thank you very much. And any reviews that you go through and do on iTunes or likes and shares on YouTube, it helps make the show more visible. Brings in more people into our little community here, which isn't really that much of a little community anymore. And it's just something that, even though Chris is gonna go through and be saying goodbye after this episode, like I said earlier, I'm still here. The show will continue to go on. We, a couple of months down the road, we might change the format or something like that, but I'm still here. It's still gonna happen. This is the podcast that you can listen to for forever and always until they stop making Diablo games, which they won't do for the foreseeable future. But who could predict the future? Anyways, but yes, definitely go through. At least, you can go through and find us live Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific at blizzpro.tv, or sorry, at twitch.tv/blizzpro. I got that wrong. Um, and while you're here, go ahead, click the follow button, check out all the other great programs that we offer, such as Well Met, hosted by, including Eldorian, co-founder of BlizzPro, where they go and talk about Hearthstone. Monday nights we have Twizcast featuring Twiz, Archon, Reb, and Stutter that they go through and talk about every single game under the Blizzard umbrella, all the news from every single franchise you can go through and talk about. Tuesday nights is the Hero Power Hour again with Twiz. I'm on there sometimes when my schedule allows it, where we go through, we chat about Heroes of the Storm, play a couple of games, and then pull in some of our patrons in there, to go through, have fun. And then, of course, Wednesday nights is our show. Continue to go through and look for us. You can also find us on YouTube. Just do a search for Westmarch Workshop or BlizzPro to find the channel. We're on Twitter. The WM Workshop is the Twitter for the official show. Tweet us your items, tweet us your feedback, and you can follow us individually. I'm at 9ballgamer. You can also always find Mr. Lieutenant Lunatic here at LTLunatic22. You can also find us in game. We are the Blizz Pro clan. If our clan does fill up quite often, so you might be stuck waiting in queue, we always appreciate if you go through and send us an email letting us know that you want to be a part of the clan, because we're always more likely to bring you in if we know who you are and what you're about, as opposed to some faceless person on the internet going through and sending an invite. Not saying that we won't accept you, as we have the spots available. We'll always go through, because if you're sending an invite into the clan, we know that you're going to be a listener to the show, or you're a fan of the show. So we just like knowing who you are, before letting it before going through, or we give a preference to knowing, to the people that we know asking to join the clan, as opposed to the ones that we won't. If you don't want to leave your current clan, you can also join us in game through the Westmarch Workshop community. So that way you can still go through and chat with us while you continue to play with your other friends. You can also find us where we have a TeamSpeak server. We're blizzpro.typefrag.com at port 6250. No password. We're in there as much as we can. I know my hours are weird, but I've chatted with a bunch of you here and there this past week, even at my odd hours of early afternoons, or very very late, early mornings. It's like one of those time periods where you could either consider extremely late at night or extremely early in the morning, one or
It's
the
late
other.
at night.
Yeah. So you can still go through and find me in there during my odd hours of play schedule. But yeah, definitely.
Whew, that was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. We look forward to hearing from you, and of course, iTunes, Stitcher, all other types of stuff. Go through,
Oh yeah.
find us, tweet at us, and email us, westmarchworkshop@blizzpro.com. I just realized I never actually said what the email address was. But yeah, send us your feedback, send us your items. Definitely send us your comments on the future of the show, future direction of the show, what it is that you would like to see. Um, continue and go forward. Like I said earlier, we've got a lot of you listening to the show, and I realize we get a lot of feedback, a lot of emails, but it represents a small part of the community, and I really don't want to make any of you feel ostracized. So by all means, uh, write in. Anything that you want to say, go through and appreciate any comments or feedback that you have.
And you're gonna miss me. You can say
I
that too.
Yes, you can
Say it.
also say that you will miss
No,
Lieutenant
you can
Windigo.
say
I can say that.
it.
I can say that. I am gonna miss you. I already told you I'm gonna miss you.
Let's stop.
Stop. Stop it. And I'm at the outro screen so you can't see me cry.
Oh.
And on that note, bye.
Bye everybody. Miss you.